President Trump is getting all kinds of criticism over a letter that he sent to President Erdogan of Turkey. And I want to just read the letter to you. It's very short. It was dated October 9th, and we'll just talk about what exactly this letter did and what its purpose was. So, on October 9th, addressed to His Excellency, President Erdogan, the Republic of Turkey, here's the exact language President Trump sent in a formal communication. Dear Mr. President, let's work out a good deal! Exclamation point. You don't want to be responsible for slaughtering thousands of people, and I don't want to be responsible for destroying the Turkish economy. Dash. And I will. I've already given you a little sample with respect to Pastor Brunson. New paragraph. I have worked hard to solve some of your problems. Don't let the world down. You can make a great deal. General Mazlum, who is the head of the Kurds, General Mazlum is willing to negotiate with you, and he's willing to make concessions that they never would have made in the past. I am confidentially enclosing a copy of his letter to me just received. History will look upon you favorably if you get this done the right and humane way. It will look upon you forever as the devil if good things don't happen. Don't be a tough guy. Don't be a fool. I will call you later. Sincerely, Donald Trump. Okay, the left is having a meltdown about the content of that letter. In fact, someone from CNN actually said on air, I had to verify with the White House that this possibly actually gets sent by the President of the United States. And the answer is yes. And I want to tell you why I think it's a great thing. First of all, let's talk briefly about President Erdogan. You know, when people use the word jihadist, you picture some nutcase in a cave someplace, strapping bombs to himself, ready to launch into some public square and kill a bunch of innocent people. That's a jihadist. It's an Islamic jihadist. The idea of that is they want to kill innocent people with them as part of the mission, not just to kill innocent people for no reason, as part of their mission to spread Islam. The mission of Islam is to spread Islam throughout the world so the entire world lives under Islam, under the law called Sharia, in a caliphate. That is the stated mission of Islam. So you don't think of someone who runs a country like Turkey as being a jihadist, but actually that's exactly what Erdogan is. He is the president of Turkey. He's also a jihadist. I read the other day on our show several statements he'd made recently. I'm going to read just a couple quick ones. You understand the nature of this guy's thinking. He has expressed his claimed intention to establish a jihad. In fact, this is early January 2018. Ismail Kahraman, the Speaker of Turkey's National Assembly, said, without jihad, there can be no progress. And then he also, in February 2018, Erdogan spoke openly about his jihadist intent to reclaim the lands Turkey once dominated in the days of the Ottoman Empire. I could read you quote after quote after quote. Erdogan is a jihadist. He's not a, prissy intellectual leader like of Canada, like Trudeau. The guy is a jihadist. How Trump wrote to him is how you write to people like that. You tell them, honestly, I will destroy you. Jihadists will not stop unless you make them afraid. And this is what President Trump done. Here's the sequence, the dates of things. Sorry, I got to read from this text I had someone send me. October 7th, Trump announced a decision to pull 28 members of the U.S. military out of harm's way. That was a very controversial decision we talked about with Frank Gaffney yesterday, a couple days ago. October 9th, Trump letter to Erdogan that I just read, ending with, don't be a fool. October 11th, Trump outlines sanctions authority against Turkey. October 14th, Trump initiates sanctions against Turkey via Treasury Secretary Mnuchin. October 17th, today, Trump-Pence secures ceasefire from Turkey. You remember we played a little clip. Vice President Pence was headed over there to meet with the Turkish officials. They've gotten a ceasefire. I am not saying that every communication from the president should be written in the tone that President Trump used writing to President Erdogan of Turkey. I am saying the American people who understand what jihads are all about are jumping up and down and clapping. People in Washington are clutching their pearls and wringing their hands and expressing they're just so embarrassed our country would have a leader like that. They don't understand what's happening. Let me remind you the leader they like so well, President Obama. Under President Obama, who had Secretary Kerry speaking for him, Secretary of State Kerry, the two of them involved negotiating with Iran, essentially giving Iran a path to nuclear weapons. That's what the Iranian deal did. But they did that negotiation all using the kind of language and tone and nose in the air, effete statesman elitism that the two of them exuded, at the same time selling out America's interest to Iran, emboldening and enabling Iran to move forward with their also jihadist conquests to take over a larger and larger portion of the Middle East. I'll take Trump any day of the week. And that, my friends, is today's First Five.